Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. BTC down from 20,338,087. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Bo, everybody. All right, let's put a little link on here. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare, Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare, Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare, Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare, Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare, Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Hey, Tom, he's all set up, man. He looks like a real podcaster, man. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare, Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare, Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare, Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare, Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare, Krishna, Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare, Krishna Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna. Good morning. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. All we need is Amy to come on too. Hare Krishna, come on, Amy, you can do it, you can do it. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Krishna, Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Krishna, Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Krishna, Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Shri Krishna Chaitanya, 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 Nityananda, 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 Shri Krishna Chaitanya, Shri Krishna Chaitanya, Shri Krishna Chaitanya, Nityananda, 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 Shri Krishna Chaitanya, 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 Nityananda, Nityananda, Shri Krishna Chaitanya, Nityananda, Nityananda, Shri Krishna Chaitanya, 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 Nityananda, Nityananda, Shri Krishna Chaitanya, Shri Krishna Chaitanya, Shri Krishna Chaitanya, Shri Krishna Chaitanya, Nityananda, Nityananda, Shri Krishna Chaitanya, Shri Krishna Chaitanya, Nityananda, Nityananda, Shri Krishna Chaitanya, Shri Krishna Chaitanya, Shri Krishna Chaitanya, Nityananda, Nityananda, Shri Krishna Chaitanya, Shri Krishna Chaitanya, Nityananda, Nityananda, Shri Krishna Chaitanya, 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 Nityananda, Nityananda, Shri Krishna Chaitanya, 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 Nityananda, 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 Shri Krishna Chaitanya, Prabhu Nityananda, Shri Advaita Gadadhar, Shri Vasari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda, Shri Krishna Chaitanya, 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 Prabhu Nityananda, Shri Advaita Gadadhar, Shri Vasari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda, Shri Krishna Chaitanya, Prabhu Nityananda, Shri Advaita Gadadhar, Shri Vasari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda, Shri Krishna Chaitanya, Prabhu Nityananda, Shri Advaita Gadadhar, Shri Vasari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama. Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama. Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Krishna Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Krishna Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Krishna Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Sri Krishna Chaitanya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Sri Advaita Nityananda Sri Krishna Chaitanya Sri Advaita Nityananda Sri Krishna Chaitanya Sri Advaita Nityananda Sri Krishna Chaitanya 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 Sri Krishna Chaitanya, 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 Sri Krishna Chaitanya. Sri Krishna Chaitanya, Sri Krishna Chaitanya, Shri 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 Krishna Chaitanya. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Krishna, Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Krishna, Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Krishna, Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Krishna, Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Krishna, Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Krishna. Okay. So everybody, oh Eva, okay, great. Oh, look who's here! Oh, this is so great. All right, Haribo, there she is. Thank you, Amy, for coming. Hare Krishna. Okay, everybody can take your microphones, put them on, and let's just chant together here a little bit. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Let me hear your voices. Krishna.
Maybe mine is very loud.
Krishna, Hare Krishna.
Well,
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna.
let's see. Well, just stay back a little bit.
Krishna Krishna.
Hare
Hare
Krishna, Krishna,
Krishna.
Krishna. Let's hear some laughter and joy. Krishna,
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna.
Rama, Rama, Hare Hare.
Wow, what a celebration. Hare Krishna.
Hare Rama, Rama.
Krishna,
Rama,
Krishna,
Rama,
Hare
Hare
Hare,
Krishna,
Rama,
Krishna,
Hare Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, 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 Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna,
Rama,
Krishna
Rama,
Krishna,
Hare
Hare
Hare.
Hare.
Krishna,
Hare
Hare
Rama,
Rama,
Rama, Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare
Hare
Rama,
Krishna,
Hare
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna,
Hare
Hare Hare.
Krishna.
Hari Rama,
Hare
Hari
Rama,
Rama,
Hare
Rama
Rama, Rama
Rama,
Rama, Hare Hare.
Hari Krishna, Hari Krishna,
Hare
Krishna
Krishna,
Krishna, Hari Hari, Hari
Krishna,
Rama,
Hare
Hari
Hare.
Rama,
Hare
Rama
Rama,
Rama,
Hare
Hari Hari,
Rama,
Hari Krishna,
Hare
Krishna
Krishna,
Krishna,
Hare
Krishna
Krishna,
Hari
Krishna
Hari,
Krishna,
Hari Rama, Rama Rama,
Hare
Rama
Rama,
Hari,
Rama, Hare
Hari
Hare.
Krishna, Hari Krishna,
Hare
Krishna
Krishna,
Krishna,
Hare
Hari Hari,
Krishna,
Hari Rama, Hari Rama, Rama
Hare
Rama,
Rama, Rama
Hari
Rama,
Krishna,
Hare
Hari Krishna, Krishna
Hare
Krishna,
Hare
Hari Rama, Hari Rama,
Hare
Rama Rama,
Hare
Hari
Rama,
Krishna,
Rama
Krishna
Rama,
Krishna Krishna, Hari Hari, Hari Rama, Hari
Hare Krishna, Hare
Rama, Hari
Krishna,
Hari,
Hare
Hari
Krishna,
Krishna,
Hare
Hari
Hare Rama, Rama
Hari Rama, Hari Rama,
Hare Krishna,
Rama
Hare
Rama,
Krishna, wow, Hare
Krishna,
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 Hari
Hare
Krishna,
Hare,
Hari
Rama,
Krishna,
Rama.
Krishna Krishna,
Hare
Hari Hari,
Rama, Rama
Rama
Rama,
Rama, Hare Hare,
Rama
Hare
Rama,
Krishna, Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna,
Rama
Hare
Rama,
Krishna,
Hari
Krishna.
Krishna, Hari Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hari Hari, Hari
Wow,
Rama,
wow,
Rama
Hare
Rama,
Krishna, Hare
Hari
Krishna, Krishna.
Hari Krishna, Hari Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hari Hari, Hari Rama, Hari Rama, Rama Rama, Hari
Hare Krishna,
Krishna,
Krishna, Krishna,
Krishna
Hare
Krishna,
Hare.
Hari
Hare
Hari,
Krishna,
Hari Rama, Hari
Hare
Rama,
Krishna,
Rama
Hare
Rama,
Krishna,
Hari Hari Krishna, Hari
Krishna,
Krishna,
Krishna, Hare
Krishna
Hare.
Krishna, Hari Hari,
Hare Ram,
Hari
Hare
Rama,
Ram,
Rama,
Rama,
Rama Rama, Hari Hari,
Krishna,
Krishna
Hare
Hari
Krishna,
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 Hare Hare, Hare
Krishna
Rama,
Krishna,
Rama,
Hari Hari,
Rama,
Hare
Rama,
Ram, Hare Ram,
Rama
Ram,
Hare
Hare
Rama
Krishna, Hare
Rama, Hari
Krishna,
Hari,
Hare Krishna,
Krishna,
Hare
Krishna,
Krishna,
Hare
Hare
Hare,
Krishna,
Rama,
Krishna,
Hare
Hare
Rama.
Rama, Rama,
Hare
Hare
Ram, Hare Ram, Ram,
Rama
Hare
Hari Rama,
Krishna,
Hare
Rama
Krishna,
Krishna,
Hare
Hari
Hare
Hare,
Krishna,
Hare
Hari
Krishna,
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 Rama
Hari
Rama,
Rama,
Hare Hare.
Hari
Krishna,
Krishna,
Hare
Hari
Hare, Krishna,
Hari
Hare
Rama, Rama,
Hare Rama,
Rama,
Rama, Rama, Hare
Hari
Hare
Hare
Krishna,
Hare,
Hare
Hare
Krishna,
Krishna, Hare
Krishna,
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 Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama,
Rama, Hari
Rama,
Rama, Rama,
Hare Hare, Krishna,
Rama
Hare
Rama, Hare
Krishna,
Hare, Hare Krishna,
Krishna,
Hare
Krishna,
Krishna.
Hare Hare, Hare
Hare Krishna,
Rama, Rama, Hare Hare,
Rama,
Hare
Rama,
Krishna, Hare Krishna,
Krishna, Krishna,
Krishna,
Hare Hare,
Krishna, Hare
Krishna.
Hare, Hare Rama, Hare
Krishna,
Rama,
Krishna, Hari
Rama,
Rama
Rama,
Rama,
Hare
Hare
Hare,
Hare,
Rama,
Hare
Hare
Krishna,
Rama,
Krishna,
Krishna.
Rama, Hari
Krishna,
Hari,
Krishna, Hare
Krishna,
Hare,
Hari
Hare
Krishna,
Krishna,
Hari
Hare
Krishna,
Krishna,
Hare, Hare
Krishna,
Rama,
Krishna,
Krishna,
Hare
Rama,
Rama.
Krishna,
Rama,
Hari
Hare
Hari,
Hare,
Rama.
Hari Rama,
Krishna,
Rama, Rama, Hari
Hare
Hari,
Krishna, Hare Krishna,
Hari
Krishna,
Krishna, Hari
Krishna,
Rama,
Krishna,
Hare
Hare Hare,
Krishna,
Hare
Krishna,
Krishna,
Hare
Hari
Ram, Hare Ram,
Hari
Ram,
Rama,
Krishna,
Hari
Krishna,
Rama,
Hare Hare,
Rama,
Hare
Rama, Hari
Krishna, Hare Krishna,
Rama,
Krishna,
Rama, Hare
Rama
Krishna,
Rama, Hare
Krishna,
Hare,
Hare
Hare
Krishna,
Hare
Krishna.
Ram, Ram,
Krishna,
Ram,
Hari
Ram,
Krishna,
Rama,
Hare
Hari
Hare,
Rama,
Hare Rama,
Hare
Rama,
Krishna,
Rama,
Rama,
Krishna,
Hare
Krishna, Hare Hare,
Hare,
Hare
Hare
Rama, Hare
Krishna,
Rama.
Krishna,
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 Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna,
Rama, Rama,
Hare Krishna,
Rama,
Krishna,
Rama,
Hare
Hari
Rama,
Hari,
Rama, Hare
Hare
Hare,
Ram,
Hare
Hari
Ram,
Krishna,
Krishna,
Ram,
Hari
Ram,
Krishna,
Krishna,
Hare
Krishna,
Krishna,
Hare Hare,
Krishna, Hari Hari, Hari
Hare
Rama,
Krishna, Hare Krishna,
Rama
Hari
Rama,
Rama,
Krishna,
Rama,
Hare
Rama,
Ram,
Hari
Ram,
Hari,
Ram, Ram, Hare
Krishna,
Hare
Krishna,
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 Hare
Hare
Krishna,
Krishna, Hari
Hare
Rama,
Ram,
Hari
Ram,
Hari,
Ram,
Hari
Hare
Krishna, Hari Krishna,
Rama,
Krishna,
Hare
Rama,
Krishna,
Krishna,
Hari
Hare
Hari,
Krishna,
Hari
Krishna,
Rama,
Krishna Krishna,
Hari
Hare
Rama,
Krishna, Krishna, Hare
Rama,
Hare,
Ram,
Hare
Ram, Ram, Ram,
Rama,
Hare
Hare
Krishna,
Hare,
Krishna,
Krishna, Krishna,
Krishna,
Krishna,
Krishna,
Krishna,
Hari
Hare
Hari,
Hare, Hare
Rama,
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 Krishna,
Hare
Hare
Hari
Hare
Krishna, Hari Krishna,
Hare Krishna,
Krishna,
Hare
Krishna,
Krishna,
Hari
Krishna Krishna, Hare
Hari Rama,
Rama Rama, Hare Hare,
Rama,
Hare
Rama, Hari
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna,
Hari Krishna, Hari
Krishna,
Krishna
Krishna,
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 Hare
Hare
Hare,
Krishna,
Rama.
Hare
Krishna,
Ram,
Hari
Hare Ram, Ram,
Hari
Ram,
Rama, Hari
Hare Krishna,
Rama,
Hare
Rama,
Hare Krishna,
Rama
Hare
Hare
Krishna,
Krishna,
Hare
Krishna
Krishna,
Krishna,
Krishna.
Hare Hare,
Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare
Krishna
Krishna,
Krishna Hare Hare
Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare.
Krishna
Hare
Krishna
Krishna, Krishna Krishna.
Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna,
Hare
Hare Ram, Ram.
Jai Shri Guru Haridas.
Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare,
Krishna
Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare
Ram,
Hare.
Hare Ram, Ram Ram,
Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare
Krishna
Ram,
Krishna,
Ram Hare
Hare
Hare.
Rama,
Hare Krishna, Krishna
Rama, Rama,
Krishna
Hare
Krishna,
Hare,
Hare
Krishna
Ram, Hare Ram,
Hare Rama,
Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna
Rama,
Krishna,
Rama, Hare Krishna,
Hare
Hare
Hare Ram, Hare Hare.
Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama,
Krishna,
Rama,
Hare
Rama, Hare
Hare Rama, Hare
Krishna,
Rama,
Hare
Rama Rama, Hare 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 Krishna,
Hare
Hare
Rama,
Krishna,
Hare Krishna,
Krishna
Rama,
Krishna,
Rama,
Hare Rama,
Hare Ram, Hare Ram,
Hare
Ram
Hare
Ram,
Krishna,
Hare
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 Krishna,
Krishna, Hare
Krishna
Krishna,
Krishna, Hare Hare
Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare.
Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna
Hare
Krishna,
Ram, Hare Ram, Ram
Hare
Ram. Hare Krishna,
Hare
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 Krishna,
Krishna,
Krishna
Hare
Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna,
Krishna Krishna, Hare
Hare
Hare,
Krishna, Hare
Hare
Krishna,
Krishna, Hare
Krishna
Krishna,
Krishna.
Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare
Hare
Krishna,
Ram,
Hare
Hare Ram,
Krishna
Krishna,
Ram
Krishna,
Ram,
Hare
Hare
Hare,
Krishna
Hare.
Hare Rama,
Krishna,
Hare
Hare
Rama,
Hare
Hare
Krishna,
Krishna,
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna,
Rama
Hare
Rama,
Hare.
Hare Hare, Hare
Hare
Krishna,
Ram, Hare Ram,
Rama,
Ram
Rama, Hare
Ram,
Hare,
Hare
Hare
Hare.
Krishna, Hare
Hare Hare
Krishna.
Rama, Hare Rama,
Hare Krishna,
Rama
Hare Krishna,
Hare Hare,
Krishna
Hare
Krishna,
Krishna,
Hare Hare. Hare
Krishna
Ram, Hare
Hare
Ram,
Hare,
Ram
Hare
Ram,
Rama,
Hare
Hare
Hare.
Rama Rama, Hare
Hare
Hare,
Krishna, Hare
Rama,
Krishna,
Rama, Hare Hare,
Krishna
Hare
Krishna,
Krishna,
Hare
Hare
Hare.
Krishna
Krishna.
Krishna, Hare
Hare
Hare,
Ram, Hare Ram,
Rama Hare Hare,
Krishna,
Hare
Krishna,
Hare Krishna,
Krishna
Krishna Krishna,
Krishna,
Hare Hare.
Hare
Hare Ram, Hare
Hare,
Ram, Ram
Rama
Ram, Hare Hare.
Hare Hare,
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna,
Krishna.
Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare.
Rama
Hare
Hare Rama,
Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram,
Krishna
Hare Hare.
Krishna, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare
Krishna,
Krishna,
Hare Hare,
Krishna
Hare
Krishna.
Rama,
Hare Hare.
Hare
Rama
Ram,
Rama,
Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare.
Krishna
Jai
Krishna,
Shri Guru.
Krishna Krishna,
Hare
Hare
Rama Hare
Rama, Hare Hare,
Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna, Hare Krishna,
Krishna
Hare
Hare
Krishna
Hare,
Krishna,
Hare Hare,
Hare Ram
Hare Ram, Hare Ram,
Krishna.
Ram Ram, Hare. Oh my God.
Hare Hare,
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna,
Rama Hare
Krishna
Hare,
Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram,
Krishna
Ram
Krishna,
Ram, Hare Hare.
Hare
Rama
Ram
Rama,
Hare
Hare
Krishna, Hare
Ram
Krishna,
Krishna.
Ram
Hare Krishna,
Krishna Krishna,
Krishna
Hare
Krishna,
Hare,
Hare
Krishna Krishna,
Rama
Hare
Rama,
Ram,
Hare
Hare Hare,
Ram
Krishna Krishna,
Ram
Krishna
Ram
Krishna,
Hare
Hare
Krishna,
Hare, Hare Rama,
Krishna
Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare
Hare
Hare,
Ram, Hare
Hare
Ram, Ram
Krishna,
Ram, Hare Hare.
Hare Ram
Krishna Krishna,
Hare Krishna, Hare
Ram
Krishna,
Hare Hare
Rama Rama, Hare Krishna,
Hare
Hare
Krishna
Ram,
Hare
Hare Ram,
Krishna
Krishna
Ram,
Krishna,
Krishna Krishna Hare Hare
Hare Krishna,
Hare
Hare
Ram
Krishna,
Ram
Krishna
Hare
Ram Ram Hare
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 Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram,
Hare Krishna
Hare
Krishna
Krishna,
Krishna
Hare
Hare
Krishna,
Hare
Krishna Krishna,
Hare
Hare
Ram Hare
Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram
Krishna
Ram,
Ram
Krishna,
Ram Hare Hare
Hare Krishna,
Hare
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 Krishna
Krishna,
Krishna,
Hare
Krishna
Krishna.
Krishna, Hare
Krishna
Hare
Hare
Krishna
Krishna,
Ram,
Hare
Hare
Hare,
Ram,
Hare
Krishna
Ram, Hare Ram.
Ram
Hare
Hare
Hare,
Ram
Ram Ram, Hare Hare,
Ram
Hare
Ram
Krishna,
Hare
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 Krishna.
Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare
Hare
Krishna,
Krishna Hare Krishna
Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare,
Krishna
Hare
Krishna
Ram,
Hare
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 Ram.
Hare Krishna,
Hare Ram
Ram
Hare
Ram,
Ram
Hare Hare,
Hare
Hare
Ram
Krishna,
Ram
Hare
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 Krishna.
Hare Ram, Hare
Hare
Ram,
Krishna,
Krishna Hare
Hare
Krishna,
Krishna
Hare, Hare Ram.
Krishna Krishna Hare Hare
Hare
Hare
Ram,
Ram
Hare Ram.
Hare Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare
Hare Ram,
Hare
Hare
Krishna
Ram,
Hare
Hare
Ram
Krishna
Ram, Hare
Krishna
Hare
Krishna Hare
Krishna,
Hare Hare Ram Hare Ram Ram Ram
Hare
Hare
Krishna, Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Ram,
Hare
Hare
Krishna Hare Krishna
Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare
Krishna
Ram, Hare Ram.
Krishna Hare Hare
Ram Ram,
Hare
Hare
Ram
Hare,
Hare Ram
Hare Krishna,
Ram Ram Hare Hare
Krishna, Krishna, Hare
Hare
Hare,
Ram,
Hare
Hare
Rama, Rama, Hare Hare, Krishna, Hare Krishna,
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 Krishna
Krishna,
Krishna
Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama,
Hare
Hare
Ram
Rama,
Hare Ram
Rama, Hare Hare,
Ram
Hare
Ram
Krishna,
Hare
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 Krishna,
Hare Rama,
Hare
Rama
Krishna,
Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Krishna,
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna
Rama,
Krishna,
Rama, Rama,
Hare
Hare
Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare
Hare
Krishna,
Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna,
Krishna, Krishna, Hare
Hare
Hare,
Hare
Rama,
Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Hare
Rama,
Hare.
Rama, Hare Hare,
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna
Krishna,
Krishna,
Krishna, Hare Krishna,
Hare
Krishna,
Rama, Hare
Krishna,
Rama,
Hare
Rama
Hare,
Rama Rama
Hare
Hare
Rama,
Hare Hare
Hare
Krishna
Rama,
Hare
Rama,
Krishna,
Rama,
Hare
Rama,
Krishna,
Hare Hare,
Hare Hare Hare
Hare
Rama
Krishna,
Krishna,
Hare
Rama
Hare
Krishna,
Krishna,
Rama, Hare Rama,
Rama
Krishna,
Rama
Rama
Krishna,
Hare
Rama,
Hare
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 Hare.
Hare,
Krishna
Rama,
Hare Rama, Hare
Hare
Rama,
Krishna, Hare Krishna,
Rama,
Krishna
Rama,
Krishna.
Hare Hare, Krishna,
Hare
Hare
Rama
Krishna,
Hare
Hare
Rama,
Krishna,
Hare Rama, Rama Rama,
Krishna,
Hare Hare.
Krishna, Hare Hare,
Krishna,
Hare
Krishna,
Rama,
Hare
Hare
Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna
Rama,
Krishna.
Rama, Hare
Rama,
Hare,
Rama
Hare
Rama
Rama,
Hare
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 Rama,
Krishna
Rama
Hare
Rama, Hare
Krishna
Krishna,
Hare.
Krishna,
Krishna,
Krishna
Hare
Krishna,
Krishna
Hare,
Hare
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 Krishna,
Hare
Hare
Rama
Krishna,
Hare
Rama
Krishna
Rama,
Krishna.
Rama Rama Hare
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 Rama,
Rama,
Hare
Rama
Krishna
Rama, Rama Hare Hare.
Krishna, Hare Krishna,
Hare Krishna, Hare
Krishna,
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 Krishna
Hare
Krishna,
Hare,
Hare Hare.
Krishna Krishna Hare Hare
Hare
Hare
Rama,
Rama, Hare Rama,
Hare
Rama
Rama
Rama,
Hare
Hare
Rama,
Rama
Hare.
Hare Hare,
Rama Rama Hare Hare
Hare
Krishna,
Krishna,
Hare
Hare Krishna,
Krishna,
Krishna
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 Krishna.
Hare
Krishna,
Hare Hare
Krishna,
Rama
Krishna,
Hare Rama
Hare Rama,
Rama
Hare
Hare
Rama
Rama,
Hare
Rama,
Hare
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 Rama,
Krishna Krishna
Rama,
Rama,
Hare
Rama,
Krishna,
Hare
Hare
Krishna
Hare,
Krishna, Krishna Krishna.
Krishna,
Hare
Krishna,
Rama, Hare Rama,
Krishna,
Rama
Krishna,
Rama.
Krishna, Hare Hare,
Hare
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 Rama, Hare Rama,
Krishna, Hare
Rama,
Krishna,
Rama,
Hare
Hare
Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare
Hare
Rama,
Krishna, Hare
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 Krishna,
Krishna,
Krishna Hare
Hare
Krishna
Krishna,
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 Hare Krishna,
Hare
Krishna,
Krishna
Hare
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 Rama,
Rama
Hare
Hare Rama
Rama,
Hare Rama,
Rama,
Rama Rama Hare Hare Hare
Hare
Krishna
Krishna,
Hare
Hare
Krishna
Krishna, Krishna
Krishna,
Krishna.
Krishna,
Krishna
Hare
Hare Hare
Hare,
Hare Rama
Hare
Hare
Rama, Hare Rama,
Hare
Rama
Rama
Rama,
Rama
Hare
Hare
Rama,
Hare Hare
Rama,
Krishna
Hare
Rama,
Krishna,
Hare
Hare Krishna,
Hare
Krishna,
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 Hare
Krishna
Hare,
Hare
Hare
Hare Hare
Rama,
Hare
Rama
Rama,
Hare
Rama Rama, Hare
Rama,
Hare.
Rama Rama
Rama,
Hare
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 Hare,
Krishna,
Krishna Hare
Hare
Krishna
Krishna,
Rama,
Krishna
Krishna
Krishna.
Rama,
Krishna
Hare Hare,
Rama Rama
Hare
Hare
Rama,
Krishna,
Hare Rama, Rama
Krishna,
Rama, Hare Hare.
Krishna,
Hare
Krishna, Hare
Krishna, Hare Krishna.
Hare Rama, Hare Rama,
Hare Rama.
Rama,
So maybe we'll, you want to, let's read something a little bit? Yeah. Amy, would you like to read something? I'll give you the invite. I mean, you don't have to, but if you'd like to.
Sure. What should I read?
Let's see. What comes to mind? What's your intuition say?
um, well, I was reading this one passage, or this one chapter of Krishna. It's about the bees, the one about the bees, where the gopis and Radharani is very
Ooh.
separated from Krishna.
Oh, yes, yes. Let's do
Yeah,
that.
chapter
Yeah.
chapter canto 10, right? And this is, yeah,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
have.
Keep it going. Yeah,
All right, I just got to find it though. Hold on.
yeah. Isn't it nice to have Amy up here? You know, I can see it. And she's going to read 10th canto. Wow.
All right, I think this is the one. Let me see. Okay. Okay. Um. Okay, I guess I'll just start from.
Oh,
Okay. Sorry.
wherever you want to start from.
All right. Sorry. Yeah, that took me a long time. Sukadeva Goswami said, "The young women of Vraja became astonished upon seeing Lord Krishna's servant, who had long arms, whose eyes resembled a newly grown lotus, who wore a yellow garment and a lotus garland, and whose lotus like face glowed with brightly polished earrings. Who is this handsome man? The gopis asked. Where has he come from? And whom does he serve? He's wearing Krishna's clothes and ornaments. Saying this, the gopis eagerly crowded around Udhava, whose shelter was the lotus feet of Lord
Uttama Sloka.
Uttamasloka Sri Krishna.
Yeah.
Bowing their heads in humility, the gopis duly honored Udeva word. They took him to a quiet place, comfortably, and began to question him, for they recognized him to be a messenger from Krishna, the master of the goddess of fortune. The purport. The chaste gopis were enlivened to see that a messenger had come from Krishna. As Uddhav will discover during his stay in Vrindavan, the unique gopis could not think of anything but their beloved Krishna.
Yeah, you see, do you see the interesting? Yeah, this is teaching the very subtle things like how Krishna is received. See, so the gopis, they were so enlivened by receiving the messenger of Krishna. See, and that's the idea with when you develop attraction from hearing from devotees. That's that gopi move, especially when you hear from, if you, like in our line, it's a gopi line, and if you hear from devotees who are glorifying Krishna Vrindavan, and you're enlivened by that, that is your great fortune. That's why sadhu sangha is glorified as the best way to make spiritual advancement. This proves that this is the best way to make spiritual advancement quickly, easily, without all that difficult effort. Because you just come here and you're hearing from the messenger of Krishna. I mean, that's the line. If you're hearing from a real messenger of Krishna, you'll feel this spiritual enlivenment, just like the gopis. So now you know the destination, because that's what we're here for. The real line is like that. If you're hearing from a non-devotee, like a putana, person that is still captured by putana, they're false representative of Vrindavan. See, so she cannot give the milk; she gives the poison, right? And it keeps you out of Vrindavan. That's the hypocrisy. That's the Pharisee type thing, or what we have in the gurus in these lines here. They're just actually false representatives. They cannot produce that enlivenment. It's very special. That enlivenment that you're reading about there is here. So people can see more and more that people are being spiritually enlivened by the transcendental potency of Vrindavan, which comes through the real messenger of Krishna. Okay? And that's how it works. This is sadhu sangha. They had that was like the sadhu sangha. Uddhava comes from Mathura, and he's representing Krishna, and the gopis were so, oh, he's a messenger of Krishna, a flute of Krishna. Let us hear the message that Krishna's going to give us. See, when people are eager to hear the message of real devotees who are actual associates of the Lord, that is the greatest fortune. That means they're receiving the real Krishna. That's why they'll receive the ecstasy of that. See, the ecstasy of the devotee you receive. That, and the ecstasy of a real devotee is the ecstasy of Krishna. That's how the line works. The electricity goes. See, and that's but most because they're contaminated, they want to receive the message. They no, it's sahaja, stay back. But look, see, you're the witnesses. See, and I was listening to the Sankirtan. I'm a little bit distracted because it's this Bitcoin thing is at a crucial situation. It's going like, and I got to catch it just at the right time, So, but I didn't want to miss this either. It's kind of like Mother Yashoda when the milk was boiling, and she had to put her attention over there, and Krishna didn't like it, But anyway, I got to do what I got to do, But still, this is. The early bird always catches the worm on all levels. I've always noticed that. You catch the worm, but it gets you get the you actually catch the best of times on all levels.
Yeah.
And even on the physical level, like this here, the Bitcoin thing, just early in the morning, just like down. Everybody's sleeping except Goharidas. who's right there looking. Yeah. And then we do the same thing spiritually. We get up really early. Everybody's sleeping, and we're up. You know, and doing the Harikata, so we catch that very special energy. It's wonderful. I mean, I tell you, I feel the most fortunate. Yeah. So anyway, this morning Sankirtan was amazing. I was watching how happy those three were. Lalita Madhava and what's his name? I keep forgetting. He has so many names sometimes.
John Andre.
Yeah, John Andre, and then Lalita. They were just happily singing Sankirtan, glorifying their guru. See, and you would think, oh, that's you want to be glory. No, I was just thinking, wow, amazing how it really works. It's like proof. They've realized that it's really working here. That the Lord is really working here, and the Lord is showing them the benefit, the happiness you get from finding the real line, where the lineage, where the Vrindavan is coming, and just that happiness of doing Sankirtan. It was so heartwarming. It's amazing to see that. And that's the witnessing, is you just witnessing that God is really working here. Truly, it's not a sahaja thing. It's not crazy. It's not unbona fide. Proof is, hey man, it's changing my life. It's always been like that. With Jesus, it was the same thing. People, they were just honest witnessing that, man, this guy is not crazy. It's really working. We're really getting extreme, uncommon benefit. Our whole life is transforming. See, so that's Krishna consciousness. You got to find the real line, and that's its quality. See, this is why, remember, chapter 12 of Adi Leela says there were the real followers of the Acharya and the false ones. See, like with Bhaktisiddhanta, there were the real followers of the Acharya, that was Prabhupada, and the false followers, that was, mostly the God brothers, really. The real followers have this special mercy. That's its sign. It's special. It's uncommon. It's unusual. But the others get, even if you're a false follower, there's mercy there, but you're still caught in the obstacles, keeping you fully out of Vrindavan. See, Prabhupada was fully in Vrindavan. He got the special mercy of Bhakti Siddhanta, even though he didn't lavishly preach it and left it for us to finish this. See, but still, he was a good son. This is what how even in the world it shows you how it's working. You sometimes have good sons, and you have some rotten ones, or not so good, or different. And that's just how it is. The same thing spiritually. You have some really good sons or daughters, and that really get this. And some get it a little bit less, but everybody benefits according to their ability. And all whatever, that's why if you're here and you think, oh well, look at Lalita Ganga and Johan, they're so ecstatic and I'm not so ecstatic. And, hey, but you're here and everything will progress simply because you're here. You're getting it's like, what is the difference between a richest man, say a billionaire, and a person that is found the place to make money? They just keep increasing their riches too, according to their ability, and they eventually become a billionaire also. That's this place. It's like this, and you increase according to your capacity. The Lord doesn't want to burn you out. You can't just rip all the skins off. It's progressively, but you found the real place for that. So everybody, it's glorious. Everybody who comes here is a contribution, and you help people. There's so many people with the same issues that you have to make progress, and people have to go through the purification. There's no way you can. That's why you don't see love of Godhead. That's why you don't see love of Godhead in the ISKCON and Gaudiya Math and even the Gaudiya Samiti, because they need this special purification. See, this is you cannot achieve the absolute truth of Vrindavan level just through study of the Vedas or through those who are not real residents of Vrindavan. And even if they are, they still have to teach you these confidential secrets. See, so there's these obstacles, various obstacles, and the real resident of Vrindavan will get you through all of them, and no one else can. See, that's why you see, you see that in ISKCON, even though Prabhupada was a gopi, and he wonderful books that we all love so much, right? But still, people, very few, if you know, if any, have achieved that kind of mercy that Prabhupada had, because he wasn't preaching the confidential message yet. The same thing like with Moses. Moses was a prophet like Jesus, and he even said that at some time the Lord is going to raise up a prophet like me, talking about like Moses, very significant person, an acharya. See? Uh, So then Jesus was raised up. See, Prabhupada talked about the same thing. He even said, "You don't appoint acharyas; they're raised up by the mercy of Krishna. They're what do you call it? They appear by the will of Krishna." Okay? And then you can begin to recognize, because you see very special qualities in them, and the first fruits see them and they witness, and then the line is established again. You see, and so now Prabhupada has left this for us and the proof is it works. See, the witness program. The witnesses, you are the first fruits who believe in this word. You are called to believe in it, though Krishna has given you ability to have faith in this, for whatever his reasons are. He knows he's in the heart of everybody. He knows what's in your heart and what you can take and what you can't and what you want. Okay? And so that's why we're so fortunate. The best, the really, I mean, the best of the lot come here. And the best of the lot don't have to be anything special in the world or according to their material abilities. The best in the world could be a person with mental problems, with physical issues, imperfect. See, the globalists don't look like that. They don't see like that. They're looking for physical perfection. That's why they want to get rid of a lot of people. They're looking for physical perfections. This they call white supremacists and all that stuff. It's so ridiculous. And people don't see them. This whole thing with the governments, the globalists, they're promoting this. They're trying to project on to actually good people, like religious people, Christians mostly, because that's the main thing, that they're white supremacists. See, but it's the projection of these globalists. They're the ones that are like everything they say is about them. See, so yeah, and that's how it is. People are projecting, what they are into this world. And here the devotees are actually projecting real Krishna consciousness in the world. Yeah, which is wonderful, and showing and the way to get it. And so anyway, just what I said is just unbelievable, actually. But it's the way it's how to identify the real disciplic line and where it is. It's right here, right in front of everybody's face. See, and when you see, there's you can turn this thing around. We're in the Catholic Church. The Catholic Church, they say if you can identify a demon and name it, then you can get rid of it. It's the same thing. If you can identify, this is sadhu sangha. The whole point is, if you can identify the absolute truth and its qualities and name it, you can bring it in. And that's what we do here. We bring it forth. People say, "Oh, well, that's the path." The path is the conclusive understanding of the path and its qualities. so that people can see it. See, we identify it, we name it. And then when it's named, people have a road. You know, right? Like construction a road. If there's no road, how do you get through the jungle? Right? You got to have a road paved. This is the idea. You cannot see that verse I quoted yesterday. I'll quote it again. Sorry, Amy, I'm interrupting. We'll get back to it. Yeah, and I quoted that verse yesterday. A very important verse. It's you cannot understand or ascertain the absolute truth just by study of the Vedas. See, and following the rules and regulations and all that included. The solid truth of real religious principles, see, the real essential religious principle is hidden in an unadulterated self-realized soul. That started with Madhavendra Puri. That started actually more popularized by Lord Caitanya. See, the solid truth of real religious principles was hidden in the heart of an unadulterated self-realized soul. That was Lord Chaitanya. Let's say Lord Caitanya. It was also started with Madhavendra Puri. And he started to bring it out. See, he brought it out by this ecstatic chanting. You know, out. He brought it out. He didn't like, I'm sorry, didn't see show you the ecstatic chanting thing. You know, that's what so the best I've seen is that, and whether it was there or not, who the hell knows? You know, you never saw it. See, um, so the solid truth of real religious principles is hidden in the heart of an unadulterated self-realized soul. But if it's hidden in their heart, you don't get it. It was hidden in the heart of Moses and people didn't get it. It was hidden in the heart of Prabhupada, they didn't get it. Oh, it's hidden in Gaur Haridas's heart too. But what's the difference? People are getting it. See? They're getting it. See, it's hidden in the heart of an unadulterated self-realized soul. But what if that absolute truth is expressed and brought out? See, for the first parts of the Leela of Lord Caitanya, he was hiding it. See, and then he expressed it, in Madhya Leela, the beginning of the Sankirtan movement, Prema Sang. He expressed it. And then people started to get it. Okay? Otherwise, you don't get it. That's why I say, even if you are self-realized, if you don't bring it out, then people don't get it. And that was the secret. It was hidden in the heart of Lord Caitanya. And all devotees who expressed it, people began to get it. That when I began to express it in 1996, people asked me, please read Chaitanya Bhagavat, teach me these principles. And I started teaching, I started to get really ecstatic. And not only me, they started to get really ecstatic. They started crying. I was crying, they were crying. Laughing and crying, we were just like drunk, literally, on this ecstasy. And then Prabhupada appeared right away and says, he was beaming, said, this has my full approval. You're doing exactly what I want you to do. You do more of this. Just like that. Sitting on the cushions, we're on the same level, showing, hey, this is you. You're part of the family, man. And you have my order to express this to the world. Because I wasn't before expressing it much. It was just, nobody knew. When I first started to express it when I came to the devotional service in 1980, it just came out spontaneously. And as soon as it was expressed, they squashed it. They just said, hey, what are you doing? This is offensive to cry for Krishna. This is very offensive to do this. You're not supposed to do this, especially in the temple room. And with great anger. And I felt, went inside. Okay? It's the same thing with Lord Caitanya. At first, when he started to express it, you can read this all in the Leela, they tried to squash it. The whole villages said he's crazy, what is going on? He's got this mental disease. He just had ecstatic devotion. That was coming out of him, and they squashed it. There was nobody to receive it, except an ecstatic devotee who was Narada Muni in a previous life, but it was Srivas Thakur who came over and said, oh, I wish I had such derangement. This is ecstatic symptoms. You're very fortunate to have these kinds of symptoms. And the Lord became encouraged. He was going to drown himself in the Ganga because the whole village was against him because nobody ever saw that. Is it surprising that nobody? How do you think I was able to do what I'm doing now? There is no living being on the planet, not Narayan Raj, not a Radhakund Babaji. I was looking, man. Not a person. Nobody in ISKCON, no guru, nothing who could understand what you're seeing here. The only encouragement I had was Prabhupada's order and the books. I could see, yeah, Lord Chaitanya had the same problem. Luckily, he had a living devotee there. I had the scriptures and I had the dream of Prabhupada. You see how important it is when probably only one person on the planet has such things. I had to get some encouragement. Nobody, and you need a role model. Thank God I had those scriptures. So it was perfectly timed. See, I had the dream with Prabhupada and then Krishna appeared. Perfect timing. Literally in his, yeah. And so the timing was proper and perfect. And now people are getting it because once it is so auspicious to recognize where that transcendental Lord Krishna is working. Maya is working hard to cover it up. That's what she does. And now something got through. See, you see, when Krishna was born, or before Krishna was born, the mother, remember I said, mother, the Devaki and Vasudeva, they represent the spiritual master, which is the true form of androgyny. See, the true form of androgyny, both male and female in one body. See? That was Devaki, and that's what it represents. The real spiritual master. Devaki is female, right? Like the soul. It's got this more feminine thing. There's the hero and the heroine. The hero has to save the heroine, right? That's how Krishna and the relationship is. Krishna is always saving. It has to save us. We have no other, of course. But most people are not qualified to understand these things. So anyway, from this, let's put that Devaki pastime and Vasudeva as being two different individuals in the bodies. Say that's one person now. Okay, this is the soul has realized God. Okay? Now, what comes from that? Okay? Babies. Okay? That's if you're preaching, then people, then disciples come, but many of them are dashed by Kamsa. Kamsa represents the material energy. See, the hypocrisies and all of that stuff. So Kamsa dashed many of these children. Hey, Eva, welcome. He dashed many of the children of Devaki, which represents the disciples, to the ground. Okay, and yeah. So, but some like two or three got through. One was Krishna, the other was Mahamaya or Yoga Maya, actually, who is actually Mahamaya and Yoga Maya are basically the same, just different forms. One is the pure form, that's the one we're after. The other is the one that's the perverted reflection. That's what the living entities have taken shelter of in this world. They've taken shelter of the Mahamaya. See? And it's polluting their consciousness. It's making them forget that they're spirit. See? And their spirit related to the Supreme Spirit. See? That's what Mahamaya does. All the way up into religion, even. The world and into religion. People still, she's working there. She works as the Putana. See? Keeps the Garden of Eden or Vrindavan, that paradise hidden. See? So she's working in the Pharisee types. See, they can't go beyond religion. Some might be sincere, they fast and they study and everything, but there's still, subtle motives there, material. See, they can't get fully in there. They also have to be liberated. See? So the Lord sends His real intimate associates here and liberates people. There's no other way. See? But you see, Jesus had to go through the test in the desert too. You look at him; he didn't have anybody confirming anything. Must have tremendous spiritual power to overcome what he did. Oh, and he did. You know what he took help of? The scriptures, isn't it? He was quoting scriptures to the devil, which is basically the illusory energy. That's what helped me so much, is to see the scriptures and not just the Bible couldn't handle what we had to bring through. I needed Chaitanya Bhagavat and Chaitanya Charitamrita, which was my guide. See? So that's why the devotees, even when they come here, even in their ecstatic condition, they need confirmation. See, then now you see what we've got here. It's amazing what we got here. We have Guru, see, with this kind of ecstatic connection with the real parampara. And we have the Shastras that confirm it, right? And you guys are the first fruits who are believing this preaching. See, I preach on the basis of the deeper Shastra, the confidential message. What's the fruit of that? Ecstasy. So now we're like the 300, man. We're like the Green Berets of this Krishna consciousness movement, right? You see how this is going to do extraordinary transformation for the world. Can you see it in this crystal ball? This prophecy. This is a way it's going to do tremendous ripples in this world. This effect is going to be is this spiritual effect. Many thousands, if not millions, of people are going back to Godhead. This is all a setup, man. It's all a setup. Prabhupada and Bhakti Sons, you see how they collected all these persons there. See? They collected them, get them to develop faith in Krishna, right? They have faith in Krishna, at least in name. They have faith in the rituals of doing deity worship and all that. Now, this is the top off. This is the finishing work, because once they have faith in this preaching, because this preaching is the final message, the final deliverance, where you become deeply, ecstatically attracted to Krishna. What else is there than that? I can't see anything else. Is that once that's established, you're like Lord Caitanya. You've got the same connection. You realize that chanting is like this white lotus of great fortune. See, the white lotus of great fortune, amazing fortune. And it increases more and more and more forever. Where can you go where would you want to go other than more? If you found a beautiful man or woman, right, in this world, and you fall in love, I mean, really fall in love, and you just cultivate that relationship, and you want to go deeper and deeper and deeper, right? But there's an edge to it, because this is in Maya. It's not the real us, so it's never going to be perfect. Some people stay in a relationship their whole lives, and they more or less love it, and they've had their challenges and all that stuff, but it's still material. But could you imagine having this eternal relationship with the Supreme Lord, which we're all built for? I don't care. You could be a lizard creature, a lizard person, like David Icke talks about, or you could be a demigod. We're all built. The God, that same God is in everyone. That's why this message is for everyone. It's for all. And anybody who believes in it, you're telling people, you're showing people they will be more happy than they can ever imagine in this world. And as your happiness increases, the more that message will increase, that actual deliverance is right here, right before the world, in a way that nowhere else has been. I was in the Narayan Raj group. They're all claiming this is the highest, and this is it. This is 1,000 times better. It's 1,000 times more real. They don't even have this ecstatic devotion. This is the same thing with the Radhakund Babajis. Oh, they're doing big austerities, man. They're sitting there with nothing to eat and all that. I didn't see this kind of ecstasy anywhere. And if they do, it's a hidden thing, if it is. But what good is it for us? This was the whole thing with my ex-wife. She goes to the Radhakund Babajis, and they all like, oh God, you're a woman, man. We don't associate. Oh, and you don't speak Bengali. You see, there's more still sectarianism. Couldn't even find friendship and intimacy amongst the 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 Babajis there. They just were not on that level. They're doing big austerities and all this, and all like and not to say fault them. I mean, anybody trying to figure it out is glorious, right? I don't care. Even there's going to be naturally hypocrisy and stuff because our hearts are not purified until we come to the ecstatic platform. Blessed are the pure in heart, they shall see God. And it's this ecstatic worship is the only way to purify the heart. No amount of rules can do it. That's why the Lord threw the brahmachari out. Lord Jesus, get that guy out. His heart, no matter how many austerities and how much milk he drank and vegetarian, oh, he wasn't even that, he was a fruitarian. He cannot purify his heart and be here. He's not qualified. The qualification is so big, these austerities that even Narayan Raj taught or the Radhakund Babajis taught are no way to get there. Too hard, especially Kali Yuga. You'll be frustrated, which is part of the thing. The guys, remember, with the rocks, going around the Govardhan Hill, Lord, look how sincere I'm doing all these austerities. And I was just sitting there watching that. If they would have just turned and said, oh, there's the path. See, but I wasn't preaching it. I wasn't doing what I was doing. I was sitting there watching these people putting the rocks in front of them, doing the hard way. I wasn't preaching this in the Narayan Raj group. I was just watching people doing things the hard way. I wasn't preaching this in ISKCON. For 5 years, I was just watching people doing things the hard way, and I was a little bit, couldn't quite, what the heck's going on here? But now we're preaching the way it works, and it works, and people will accept. As this increases, the Vaishnava family will increase. Okay? Srivas said that, when Lord Caitanya started to express ecstatic devotion and the devotees became ecstatic, he said, now our Vaishnava family will increase. I said, it's the same thing. It's a repeat, but not a hackneyed repeat, not a rerun that you see in the movies. Who likes to not? Only a really engrossed, stupid fool likes to see reruns. Really, I mean, you got to be really like, you want to see what in the world, to see the rerun again and again. That's the life. Some people, it's all a friggin' rerun, man. It's all the Groundhog Day, in just different situations, but it's Groundhog Day, the same old, man. What do you think the movie's teaching? Groundhog Day for everybody. See? Here, it's sort of similar because we do similar things. Krishna every day is meeting the gopis, every day is meeting the cowherd boys and playing the same kind of games or a little creative, different games. But always the relationship is increasing and their realizations is increasing. Their love is increasing. Come on, wake up, world. It's all here. Better than anything anywhere. This is the gate to paradise, and it's wide open and getting wider every day. We've got a team here, man. The winning team. That's why you see the Lord wants to show. I started from scratch. We're starting together from scratch. The opposition, you could say, the opposition. It's a game, opposition. We're, war games, a little bit of war, and the stakes are high, man. Souls. You know, the opposition, the Mayas, all the buildings, you know, all ISKCON, big buildings, the big deities, right? The big deities, huge, man, bigger than you know, and the big temple that's sinking down, you know, but still, and the big gurus with the big followers, right? But they can't give, you know, they don't represent the real Vrindavan yet. They got to come here. See? So look how the Lord works through the underdogs. Like the Rocky film. He was an underdog, right? You're Rocky. You know, and he did the training. Hey, we're doing the training here. This sadhu sangha, don't think it's a small thing. This is powerful, extraordinarily powerful. And it's making us extraordinarily powerful because the Lord gets stronger in us, you know. The realizations get deeper, stronger, faster, able to leap tall buildings with a single bounce. Yeah. Yeah, because see, it's increasing. Hey, Sadhu Sangha is the most glorious. I'm telling you, ISKCONs and all your groups, if you spent 30 days here, you would never be the loser. You would think, my God, am I fortunate for coming here. Now I see. You learn the real Bhagavatam, all of your groups, Narayan Raj group included. You'll understand why the wives got more than the ritual Brahmins or austere persons like yourselves. You're big sannyasis with big followings and thunderbolt sannyasis. The wives got more. They got love of Krishna just by going to the cowherd boys who probably were wearing like stuffed forest attire, t-shirts, informal dress. But they had a real relationship with Krishna. And when the gopis are, that's like you guys, not gopis, the housewives, like you guys got that mercy from a cow. All you need is one cowherd boy to get the mercy of Krishna. You get a relationship of love of Krishna, right? And then you go back to your world, and people think, "What happened with you? You really these extraordinary changes. What are you doing?" They start to ask questions. This way, Krishna sent them back. So that goes for ISKCON and Gaudiya Smiti, Gaudiya Math, whoever in the, I'm here to reach into those sanghas. And whoever does come, whoever Krishna knows who's in these different folds, just like Jesus said, I have sheep in different folds. Krishna knows those who are ready, just give us one or two. That's all we need. And then we'll send you back over there. Back to ISKCON or back to the world, back to your waitress job or whatever. And people will change. They'll see, wow, this is really different. Or back to your family. Eventually, your family, you know, let's see. There's no way that your mother cannot begin to see that, and that goes for all your mothers and your children's and everything. See that the light gets so bright and so wonderful, they cannot help but see it and inquire into it. That's how this thing works. As we grow, the love grows and the potency grows too. And the ability to change hearts. Okay, I got on a little rampage here. Go ahead, Amy, read on. Anybody want to say anything first?
That was so great what you just said. I love that how just like the level of intimacy, like how you're really describing in so much detail like this level of intimacy. And I think that that's what they a lot of time talk about with Canto 10, like this real transcendental intimacy that when you're reading it like from a material mindset, you're seeing it, but to see just or keep describing like the group, like how there's so much intimacy and like essence and substance here, and we all feel it like all the time, every day. it's just so incredible. But like, to me, that makes sense that it's like this small group that's so real. Like even in all these movies, like Rocky or all these sports movies where the underdog team, has like that real substance, but they're nobody cares about them, or they're not really like appreciated. And then by the end, they're the ones that like it all comes together, and like I don't know, that makes a lot of sense to me. That's all. And
Yeah,
I
yeah,
like the way
yeah,
that you're
yeah.
just continually like driving that like that point
Mhm.
to everybody, and it becomes so much more clear like
Yeah,
every day,
yeah,
and it's so much more exciting too. The
yeah,
same
yeah,
thing can just be so different every day. Like some
yeah,
days, I've been hearing for a year and 2.5 months, you say all these things. And like there'll be days like the other day where I was just like, oh my God, follow the process, or, these certain things. Like all of a sudden it just feels so powerful to me. The same thing that's been being said.
yeah,
But
yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, see, this is about intimacy with God, and it's wonderful. And then that intimacy spills out; it becomes the living intimacy amongst the devotees. Is very beautiful, very wonderful. I always wondered, like the intimacy I would read about with the amongst the disciples of Paul, and I thought, wow, that's beautiful. And also Lord Caitanya, they had such a sweet relationship, and that's manifesting again. This is a result of this kind of ecstatic bhajan. Worshipping the Lord in ecstasy creates this beautiful intimacy. Is very attractive too, ultimately to people. They just like also they're craving this. Krishna's in the heart of everybody. Yeah. So read on there. Anybody?
okay.
Oh wait. Yeah, yeah. You read on. Just read on. Yes. Yes, yes.
Okay. Um, all right. And the gopi said, "We know that you are the personal servant of Krishna, the chief of the Yadus, and that you have come here on the order of your good master, who desires to give pleasure to his parents. We see nothing else he might consider worth remembering in these cow pastures of Raja. Indeed, the bonds of affection for one's family members are difficult to break, even for a sage. The friendship shown towards others, those who are not family members, is motivated by personal interest, and thus it is a pretense that lasts only until one's purpose is fulfilled.
Oh,
Such
read that
friendship,
again. Read that
oh,
again. That was really tricky.
the friendship shown towards others, those who are not family members, is motivated by personal interest, and thus it is a pretense that lasts only until one's purpose is fulfilled.
Wow, that's so deep.
Such friendship and flat. This Vanath Kakravarti
Chakra.
sorry, okay, explains here
Vishwanath
Vish,
Vishwanath Chakravarti.
Vishwanath Chakravarti. I didn't say that.
Chakravarti Thakur. Don't worry about it. It's not a big deal. It's not a
I'll
big
say that one in
deal.
front of the mirror a few times.
Yeah, you say that from the mirror later.
Explains here that attractive women, like flowers, possess beauty, fragrance, tenderness, charm, and so on. And as bees drink only once of a flower's nectar and then leave it for another, fickle men abandon beautiful and devoted women in pursuit of other pleasures. This tendency is condemned here by the gopis, who gave their hearts completely to Sri Krishna. The gopis wanted only to exhibit their charms for Sri Krishna's pleasure, and in the pain of separation, they questioned the motives of his friendship with them. There are these transcendental pastimes of the Lord, but both Lord Krishna and the gopis are completely liberated souls, engaged in spiritual loving affairs. By contrast, our so-called loving affairs, being perverted reflections of the perfect loving relationships in the spiritual world, are polluted with lust, greed, pride, and so on. Like all liberated souls, the gopis, Lord Krishna himself, are eternally free of these lower qualities. Intense loving affairs exclusively by unalloyed devotees.
Yeah, you see, that's the gift you get in the disciplic line from the heart of the guru who's worshiping like that, and it's so natural, you know. You know, when you love somebody, even in the world, you just love them, right? You know, it's like special. It's like how many times do people fall in love? You know, a few times maybe in a life, but it's so beautiful and it's so natural. But and now put that with God. That is the supreme pure love. See, the world is the reflection of that. See that love, that see the love for man and woman is the darker, the more material level of this kind of love. It's the step down form, and it's more gross, literally gross. You know, you can't tell until until you start worshiping the Lord in ecstasy. You can tell the difference between lust and pure love only when you get a taste of the pure love. Okay? And that's what you can get in sadhu sangha. You see people actually worshiping God for no material motive here. Yeah, just because it's our nature. It's just like, God, Lord, you're just so amazing, man. Yeah, you're just, it's just this spontaneous awakening, and you can see how it just purifies everything from the inside. It's like taking an inner bath. Nobody usually knows, what does it take an inner bath? I never heard of that. Well, that's what you learn here, how you're cleansed from the inside out instead of from the outside, but it doesn't go in. This is why you cannot purify yourself enough by just rules and regulations, because it's from the outside trying to get in, but it's the body doesn't penetrate. The water just cleanses the body, and maybe the aura. So it's kind of it's superficial. But when the Lord awakens in the heart, this love, now you know what real taking a real bath is.
Yeah.
It's just from the inside out, and it's literally amazing. It cleans everything, it even cleans the world. It starts to come out, and from the devotees, ecstatic prema emanates. It's that ecstatic prema that comes from the inside out and radiates. So it's very wonderful. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, well, I just wanted to say, like to truly heal yourself. I mean, which all people, whether you're in spiritual or thinking about God, all want to do that, all need to do that. And
Right.
that, like, to really have that happen, it can only happen in a spirit, like by a spiritual way, by God. You can go to therapy like for your whole life, think about every single past experience that ever happened to you, try to analyze every single thing your parents said to you or some other every experience that has formed your behaviors and your thoughts and who you are. And that's not going to clean anything. It's not going to do anything or get you anywhere. All it's going to do is keep you in that loop of that same storyline that you've been telling yourself. So the only way to actually is it has to be spiritual. It has, and this is spiritual therapy, and it's it's so
Yeah.
beneficial on every single
This
level that
is
there could be.
this is the permanent. See, the others are superficial. They're trying to purify from the outside in. Even in the mind, you're trying to fix the mind with the mind. See, so it
Yeah.
doesn't penetrate to the soul. You have to have this special awakening that comes in sadhu sangha in the real line. This is why new people coming. You stay around long enough, you'll start to see how you really get purified here, beyond what you could do before. See, because you find out what is really spiritual. Most people don't know. They think they know. But here, when the Lord awakens, it's a revolution in your life experience of life, complete revolution.
Yeah.
You're like, that caterpillar, that's been in the cocoon, and then it comes out a butterfly out of the cocoon into the world, and it knows, wow, I've changed. The new existence. That's how it is. You know, and that's why it's challenging to preach this, because you're preaching to people that are in the cocoon, you know, and they're
Mhm.
not out. The blind. That's why even Jesus. That's why what is happening here is extraordinary, because not only are we just preaching to deaf ears, some ears are hearing the message, and that's the secret. Is if you listen attentively, this will go in your heart, or an awaken in your heart, and then start that process. These are, you become real sons born of the word. See, born of the preaching. I'm not hiding this stuff in the heart. You're seeing it. You're seeing this worship. You're seeing confidence in it. You know, otherwise, you know, what if I would? Oh, I'm sorry, I can't show you this. You know, I don't even know if it's real or. Yeah. See, so yeah, it's great. Go ahead,
And like
Amy. Oh, go
I
ahead.
oh
You
I
can free flow, free flow. Say whatever.
yeah, like when you're always saying like, oh, this is a process, it so is a process, and it's a formula that really does work. So if you come regularly, this is going to work. Like it, no matter what, it just happens, and you don't even have to understand it really. It's going to happen. And that's like something that I've really noticed about this being like a formula and a process that really it does work. Like that guy, there was a comment a couple of days ago or a week ago where the guy says something like, "Oh, this is a joke. I've been something interested in these things for years, and this doesn't work. Like this is just a joke." And I couldn't stop thinking about those comments, because I was like,
Yeah.
wow. I mean, I'm not like somebody who just whimsically like, oh, this is, blindly thinks that something works that doesn't. So I just really thought about that, and I'm like, no, this works. If you come and listen,
Mhm.
it just happens. Like you
Yeah.
like changing and transforming and see perception. That who the whole formula guru sadhu sastra. I mean, I feel like,
Yeah.
sorry.
That's in a nutshell. It's like that verse
Um,
in Chaitanya
yeah.
Charitamrita, chapter 1. See, chapter 1, 98 through, no, well, back way over there. Okay, a few verses. By the action of the book Bhagavat and the devotee Bhagavat. See, the living devotee Bhagavat and the book Bhagavat. See, the mellows of devotion are transformed, transferred, and awakened, whatever you want to call it, awakened in the hearts of others. That's the process. That's the formula. See? And then the next one's coming up, the next verses say, simply by hearing. See, hearing the pastimes of Lord Caitanya, the relationships between the devotees, the philosophy and the teachings and the characteristics and all of that about the Lord and the devotees. See, deep love of Krishna is attained. See, so it all fits. Now, if somebody is preaching the confidential pastimes of Lord Chaitanya and Radha and Krishna and all these things, but this deep love is not being manifested in others. There's something wrong. See, either the shastras are completely bogus, or the guru is not really. Uh, they're not really clear about their level, and then they're just speculating on real scripture, right? Or the disciples are not very good. See, so you got to look at all these factors. And now, if you've got the real thing going, you've got somebody that's attentively hearing really sincerely. You don't have to be anything special, just attentively hearing and just wanting it, like you, Amy, just like that. Okay? And you have a real guru speaking, a real devotee Bhagavan, and you have the real scriptures. What is going to be the result? The desired result, the one that's written about in the scriptures, prophesied in the scriptures. Then all of a sudden you feel the spiritual enlightenment. You become like the gopis of Vrindavan. You're hearing from a real messenger, see, and you become spiritually enlivened. See, you become a resident because, hey, you're like them now. See, but this is my only beef with these Raganuga Sanghas, the hypocrisy there. And I don't mean this to criticize. I just want to call everybody's attention to why they don't work. Okay? So, like the Narayan Raj one, like the Radhakund Babaji one. Yeah, so this is why they don't work. Okay? First of all, they're preaching the confidential message, right? They're talking Radhe, Radhe, Govinda, Govinda, and all these things. Rupa Goswami, they're preaching it, and then you got the books you're preaching. The books are qualified usually, and uh, and you're preaching it, but you don't see the effect. There's something wrong. See, you don't see that. I didn't see that. I was everywhere in that son. A year and a half. Where's this love of God that I had? They were showing. Well, we have something better and everything. I was looking for the something better, but couldn't see it. All I saw was mountains of pride there still. Pride in there's a quality. If you're trying to realize the absolute truth by austerities and everything, and study of the Vedas, you kind of get a little proud. You get a position and stuff. And I was seeing a lot of that. But I wasn't seeing this ecstatic devotion where the tears are pouring out of the devotee's eyes or anything. And then I heard the preaching was, if you have tears, hold them back. Do not show anybody this. And you can ask them now. The Narayan Raj devotees here, they have a problem with our preaching, usually. They say, why are you crying? My guru, Narayan Raj, or even the ones now, they say you should wipe that tear off. Don't show that. It's too confidential. See? So therefore, it doesn't happen. And that's a little bit like when Prabhupada, even though he was qualified, and he was not preaching, the confidential thing because it's very intimate, right? So you got to get people ready for it. So now this is works so great, so perfectly according to the book. What you read in the book, which you get here, because you got a real guru, and it's proven because you got people who are listening attentively with sincere listening. And it's preached from the book. Oh, sorry about that. Okay. Ava is not backstage, not here. Maybe she's trying to be, but yeah. So you get it to work. It works here. This is the witness program. You got. Oh yeah. Gohari, he's in the real line, and these books he's preaching. Oh, they're so enlivening. We feel enlivening because we're hearing from a real messenger. She's not here. Oh, it says Ava and Patrick. Ava and Patrick. Oh, sorry. Okay. All right. So, yeah. Anyway, there's no video, but okay. Not yet. Maybe it'll come. Uh, yeah, the real. It's really working here. We're in the real line.
Yeah.
So you need an example, role models of the real line. So you need a real guru. Okay, mute your mic, otherwise it's going to be problems here. There you go. Yeah, you got to have a real guru. You have to have real followers, who are really following along. And you need the real scriptures. See, Guru, Sadhu, Shastra. And it all works. If people will just have faith to try it. Come on, how many, is there anybody really wants Krishna enough to try to, if you were in Narayan Raj and you Radhakund Babaji's, I know you've been taught this principle. Give up everything for Vrindavan opportunity. And I say that's here. Are you ready to at least try it for 30 days? Are you ready to try it? That'll be proof that you will give up everything for Vrindavan because that's the stakes.
Is de camera zien?
Ja, hier wel.
Af.
You gotta mute your mics, otherwise it's a problem. Yeah. Giving up everything for Vrindavan. And basically what you're giving up are your misconceptions, because only the real devotee who is preaching the real thing, gotta take you down. Only the real devotee preaching the real thing is going to get you through that narrow gate into Vrindavan. They're the door, man. So you either preaching there or you're not fully. All the ducks are in the row. As I say, you've got to, yeah. I'll put you up, but you got to be muted. Try one more time.
Can you hear us, please?
Yeah, I hear you, but I don't want to hear you because I'm preaching right now. You got to understand it. Come on, man. I'm in the middle of free flow preaching. Don't, you know, okay, you got to learn how to do that. Somebody's got to teach you how to mute your mics. Yeah. So everything is ready for this. Actually, you should be listening more. This is stuff is like, it's coming down from God. Literally, I'm listening attentively. I don't want to even be interrupted. This is very important for people to hear, because if they really hear this, they find the real path. You should be listening really attentively too. Forget about, yeah, yeah. Forget about all this stuff. Right now. Let me preach. And I'm preaching. See, it's all, and everybody should. Attentive listening is the important thing here. Really listening carefully, everything, and you'll get everything from that. Yeah. Okay. Anything else, Amy?
Yeah, just really quick. I was just like thinking how like in the book is real life. Like that's where real spiritual life is. And this material world is just dead. It's not real life. And in the book is where real life is. And then a real bona fide guru can feel and see experience the real spiritual life that's in the book, because of their devotion and affection, and then is able to literally breathe that real life to other people. So it's not just words. If you read a book or a material mindset reads these words, they're not seeing the real life in it. They're just reading words and thinking of their own meaning behind it. Like they're not feeling that this is real spiritual actual life in these words and in the meaning, where you can see that, you feel it, and then you are able to breathe that into us, so it becomes alive to us. Everything becomes alive, and then that makes our spiritualness become alive in us, which is it's just that it's basically you're giving us life, real life, because what we thought was real life or material life, it was just dead. It was all
That's exactly how it works. That's
just dead and empty anyway. And that's missing from these other groups where and they're like, don't show tears, don't laugh. Well, when you cry and you laugh, that's when life happens. Even in material life, when you're crying or you're laughing, that's when that's when you're actually feeling alive. Normally you're not. So if that's what this whole essence is to experience spiritual life, to experience spirit, then all these things need to happen. The guru has to breathe that spiritual life into you, and then you feel it. And crying, laughing, of course, those are symptoms of even life, but even more so when we're talking about spiritual life. That's the way I was kind of just thinking of it for a second there.
Yeah. No, that's exactly how it works. Like Jesus said, I have life, I can give it to you abundantly. That life flows through a devotee who is connected intimately with the Lord again. And that life flows. That's the by medium. See, for Krishna, representing Krishna. But it's not just a word. I represent Krishna in name only. No, you gotta represent the Krishna in quality, in characteristics, in potency. See, where people feel that life of Krishna coming through you to them. Okay? And when they get that, then that's the wow, this is a different experience of life. Okay? You need to have that, and otherwise you're not with the real guru or with the real situation. See, breathing life, it's the word, it's the conceptions. What are you learning? When you heard from Prabhupada Bhaktisiddhanta many times, I mean, he didn't always, but Many times they're preaching rules, regulations, austerities, ekadasis, right? Ceremonies, build temples, work, translate books, transcribe. See, these are the thing. Work for Krishna. A lot of people were had a lot of what do you call fruit of. You got to engage them and get purified by working for Krishna. Some people even hear they can't attentively hear. Their minds are going around, but they want to engage. So you just follow Bhagavad Gita's process. So you work for Krishna. That's why I tell, oh well, you can't fully be here. Well, then go and do something here. Cut videos or this or that, or do something for the preaching. Stay connected. If your mind is going on, you can't quite hear what I'm saying. Do something. Even giving money, believe it. I mean, it's not like I just see what happens. People whose mind I can't. Yeah, they give a little money and they think, wow, I feel really good. Yeah, because you're serving the mission. You know, if your mind is all over the place and you can't really, well, do something. Can you cut videos or can you transcribe or can you do something? No, yeah, give money. That hey man, I've heard it so many times. I feel so good when I did this. Well, that's Krishna. Do something. Whatever you can do, stay connected. And ultimately, when you're purified, you're just connected, right? You feel it. Yeah. So that's the secret, man. Stay connected. That's why Bhagavad Gita is very beautiful. It's like, well, if you can't do this, you do this and do this. See, some people they can't hear from a devotee, right? And they can't give any money because why should I give to you? I don't believe in you. And so, what's the alternative? Okay, you can't connect with what Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita. Oh, you can't do that. Okay, give charity out there to some organization, or give it to some bogus gurus out there, some hypocrites. Something, do something that's outside, like serving, some level, even see. But the ultimate level is conclusiveness, the conclusive understanding. That's why there's giving. Give to a Brahmin, give to a qualified Brahmin, and it comes back tenfold. Give to an unqualified Brahmin. If that's your idea, you can't tell the difference. There's some benefit in everything, some level of benefit. So, what can you ascertain? So different levels, and each one is slower, each progressively down. It's slower, just naturally, right? Oh, you can't just come and hear this confidential message and these truths and just go back to Godhead in this life or a few days and become like the gopis or in a very short time. Oh, you can't get this? You can't do it this way? You don't believe this message? You don't believe it's an empowered message? Oh, okay. Go do the Vaidhi principles. Go worship, the gurus who are not on the real gurus as residents of Vrindavan, or even if they are, maybe they're preaching something lesser because that's their understanding. You see how it all works like that? That's why it's taught Vaidhi Bhakti. Because not everybody's qualified. All you have to do is qualify faith in this word, faith in these conceptions, faith that you can actually go back to Godhead, like Gohari is saying, and proving with the scriptures simply by associating and making friends with these special devotees here who are in this intimate mood with Krishna and hearing these conceptions that come are born from ecstatic, intimate devotion. If you can't believe that, you believe Gauri's a Sahaja and Lalita's a Sahaja, Johan's a Sahaja, then go out and follow the rules if that's all you can do. Go over there and criticize what we're doing because you just can't understand. But if you can, if Krishna gives you sufficient intelligence, you're very blessed and fortunate because you're here and developing faith in the highest path. It is the highest path is to hear from a devotee. That's the real line. The electricity is flowing.
Yeah.
Not just stop, like with Prabhupada, he's certain flow he's allowing, right? See, it's like a hose. You ever see a hose with water come? You could really like a fire hose, right? Or you can turn it down. So there's Prabhupada had to turn it down a little bit, right? People can't take the big blast of the water of Vrindavan and all that ecstasy. Can you imagine Prabhupada being on the Vyasasan like I'm crying, just doing this kind of work? Could you imagine trying to teach Krishna and people look at him, his disciples? 90% would have left. Even now, here, so what Prabhupada's internal mood is being expressed here now. Look how many people receive it amongst his followers. Still, they can't receive that mood. That's why I say, you don't get it here, you ain't going back to Godhead, because Prabhupada's there and he's ecstatic. And you say, oh, God, maybe I worship the wrong guru. I can't relate to that. I couldn't relate to it in this world. I relate, no, that's not Prabhupada. That's not the real Prabhupada in the spiritual world. Ecstatic like that. No, the Prabhupada I know was rules, regulations, austerities, and all of that, right? You will not recognize the Lord till you cannot recognize the Lord or Prabhupada and who is an ecstatic devotee, or the line, or the real devotees who are totally ecstatic there, if you can't learn here. If you don't get that this is the spiritual world, that this is the ecstasy in the spiritual world, how the heck are you going to accept it when you pass from the body? You don't believe it here? What you bind on earth, you bind in spirit. Jesus said that. See? So you bind a material consciousness still, and you believe in material motivated religion and materially motivated gurus. How are you going to recognize the real thing if you can't recognize it here? Because it's here now, being preached 365 days a year. Oh, does that make any sense? I think we're going to convince a lot of, we're going to give some smarts to people. How do you defy logic like this? It's just so logical. You'd have to be really brainwashed, or really brainwashed by Maya. I guess some people won't, get it. Just like, you try to tell people that you're being lied to and deceived by these materialistic persons now, these demons taking over the world. They're lying to you about that. They're just out getting rid of people now. That's the whole point. If you can't see that, and a lot of people can't, what's he talking about? I don't believe that. There's no depopulation here. Oh, Bill Gates, he's not interested in depopulation. Oh, really? His father was a depopulator. It's a family line, man. They've been working generations on this plan. Yeah. But again, it's connected to the Lord's plan. We want to show that, so you get out of this this mood of hating anything. You got to see it's all connected to the Lord. There's a new world coming. I mean, it's been prophesied in the Bible. A new world is coming, and this not the new world that's temporary. That may come for it to an extent, for a while. Humble the demigods a little bit. Light a fire under their butts. And but the new world is this world with you're close with God again, man. It's amazing. We're first fruits here. I come here to train my faith. I love those sahajas who can do it for 360. Yeah, that's a miracle to be a sahaja 365 days a year here. How come you guys are so inspired by sahaja? How are you inspired to come here so regularly? Hey, people, see, you got to judge by the results. Prabhupada was preaching. Um, by, you gotta, and Bhaktisiddhanta also in Bhakti, you gotta judge by symptoms. You gotta judge by symptoms. But practically nobody could understand that. You gotta judge by symptoms and qualities. It's still hard for many people to judge by symptoms and qualities. They judge by externals, like, they can't penetrate by analyzing things properly. But those who do, you come here, you'll learn how to analyze everything properly, conclusively, logically. Yeah. All right. So read on there a little bit more there. Can you hear me there, Amy? You can read a little bit. Oh, you're muted. Hey, Surinam, welcome. Nice to meet you. So, Ava, you can try to come back on now too if you want. Sorry, I'm a little bit hard ass sometimes. Hopefully, you get used to it. Sometimes, if my sense gratification is service. You take somebody's sense gratification away, they get angry, right? People don't understand. Say you're eating a meal and you take their food away like a dog when it's in the middle. Try taking its bowl away. Growl, even if you're its master. You know? So what's going on, Amy? Why don't you read? Oh, you guys are. I'm off.
Okay.
Oh, was I off or something?
I don't think so. No, I think it froze a little bit for me, but it seems fine.
Okay. Okay.
Okay, where was I? Okay. Okay. Prostitutes abandon a penniless man, subjects an incompetent king, and students their teacher once they have finished their education, and priests a man who has remunerated them for a sacrifice. Remunerated. I'm sorry. Them for a sacrifice. Birds abandon a tree when its fruits are gone. Guests a house after they have eaten. Animals a forest that has burnt down. And a lover the woman he has enjoyed, even though she remains attached to him. Thus speaking, the gopis, whose words, bodies, and minds were fully dedicated to Lord Govinda, put aside all their regular work now that Krishna's messenger, Sri Uddhava, had arrived among them. Constantly remembering the activities their beloved Krishna had performed in his childhood and youth, they sang about them and cried without shame. One of the gopis, while meditating on her, the word balyayo here indicates that ever since their childhood, the gopis had been really in love with Krishna. Even though social custom dictated that they not reveal their love to others, they forgot all external considerations and wept openly before Krishna's messenger, Uddhava. One of the gopis, while meditating on her previous association with Krishna, saw a honeybee before her and imagined it to be a messenger sent by her beloved. Thus she spoke as follows. Srimati Radharani is referred to in this verse as Kasit, a certain gopi. To establish that this particular gopi is in fact Srimati Radharani, Srila Jiva Goswami quotes the following verses from Agni Purana. At dawn, the gopis inquired from Krishna's servant, Uddhava, about the Lord's pastimes and recreation. Only Srimati Radharani, immersed in thought of Krishna, withdrew her interest in the talks. Then Radha, who is worshipped by the residents of her Vrindavan village, spoke up in the midst of her girlfriends. Her words were full of pure transcendental knowledge and expressed the ultimate portion of the Vedas. In the Bhagavad Gita 15:15, Lord Krishna.
If you also want to say anything about what you're reading, that's okay too.
By all the Vedas. Sorry, I say it one more time. This thing keeps popping up.
Yeah, if you want to say anything about what you're reading, you're welcome to. If you get some realization.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I think there's a part coming up that I had things to. Okay, where was? Oh, in the Bhagavad. Okay,
spontaneously, it'll just happen.
Okay. By all the Vedas, I am to be known. To know Krishna is to love Krishna, and thus Radharani, by her own example and words, revealed her supreme love for the Lord. Having quoted the above verses from the Agni Purana, Srila Jiva Goswami also quotes the following from Rishimatapani Upanishad. All the demigods and all the transcendental philosophers who desire liberation bow down to the Supreme Lord. We should follow suit. I think in like a few verses, she starts getting angry at him. I think this might be it. The gopi said, "Oh, honeybee, oh, friend of a cheater, don't touch my feet with your whiskers, which are smeared with the kunkuma that rubbed onto Krishna's garland when it was crushed by the breasts of a rival lover. Let Krishna satisfy the women of Mathura. A messenger like you ridiculed in assembly." This is him. And she thinks he's cheating or he's associating with the other women. Srimati Radharani indirectly chastised Krishna by chastising the bumblebee, which she took for his messenger. She addressed the bumblebee as Madhupa, one who drinks the nectar of flowers. And she addresses Krishna as Madhupati, the Lord of Madhu. Sri Visvanath Chakravarti points out that this and the following 9 verses exemplify 10 kinds of impulsive speech spoken by a lover. This verse illustrates the qualities of Prajalpa as described by Srila Rupa Goswami in the following verse. Prajalpa is speech that denigrates the tactlessness of one's lover with expressions of disrespect. It is spoken in a mood of envy, jealousy, and pride. Srila Visvanath Chakravarti points out that the word Kidvasbando expresses envy. Well, this one's got a lot of words. The phrase from sapanha to na, jealousy, and then there's pride, disrespect. Yadu sadasa, he cries Krishna's treatment. After making us drink the enchanting nectar of his lips only once, Krishna suddenly abandoned us, just as you might quickly abandon some flowers. How is it then that goddess Padma willingly serves his lotus feet? Alas, the answer must certainly be that her mind has been stolen away by his deceitful words. In this verse, Srimati Radharani continues to compare Sri Krishna to the bumblebee, and in her distress, she states that the reason the goddess of fortune is constantly devoted to his lotus feet must be that she has been fooled by Krishna's promises. According to Sri Visvanath Kadvarti, this statement of Srimati Radharani's illustrates Parijalpa as described in Parijalpa is that speech which, through various devices, shows one's own cleverness by exposing the mercilessness, duplicity, unreliability, and so on of one's Lord. Oh, B, why do you sing here so much about the Lord of the Yudas in front of us homeless people? These topics are old news to us. Better you sing about that friend of Arjuna in front of his new girlfriends, the burning desire in whose breast he has now relieved. With the word Radharani lends that even though the other gopis gave up their homes to love Krishna in a conjugal relationship, the Lord left them and became a prince in the great royal city of the Yudas. Besides meaning Arjuna the victor, the word Vijaya also directly indicates Sri Krishna, who is always victorious in his endeavors. And besides meaning old news, the word Puranam also indicates that Sri Krishna is glorified in the ancient Vedic scriptures of that name. In this verse, we observe in Radharani's mood the seed of jealous anger, which arises from an apparent disdain for Krishna, accompanied by a sarcastic sidelong glance directed towards him. Thus, this verse fits the following description of Vijalpa. According to the learned authorities, Vijalpa is sarcastic speech that is addressed to the killer of Agha and that openly expresses jealousy while at the same time hinting at one's angry pride. In heaven, on earth, or in the subterranean sphere, what women are unavailable to him? He simply arches his eyebrows and smiles with deceptive charm, and they all become his. The supreme goddess herself worships the dust of his feet. So what is our position in comparison? Those who are wretched. Tama Sloka. Sri Visvanath Kavradvardi states that Radharani's speech, expressing all the feelings of a disappointed lover, indicates an intensity of love for Sri Krishna surpassing even that of the goddess of fortune. While all the gopis are perfectly compatible with Sri Krishna in terms of their beauty, temperament, and so on, Srimati Radharani is especially so. In her forlorn state, Radharani indicates to Krishna, "You are called Uttama Sloka because you are merciful to the wretched and fallen. But if you should be merciful to me, then you would actually deserve this exalted name." Sri Visvantha Kakravarti further points out that in this verse, Srimati Radharani expresses her spite, born of pride, accuses Krishna of being a cheater, and finds fault with his behavior. Thus, the verse contains speech known as Vijlapa, as described in the following verse. The declaration of Lord Hari's duplicitous nature in a mood of spite born of pride, together with jealousy spoken insults directed against him, has been termed Vijalpa by the wise. Keep your head, know what you are doing. You expertly learned diplomacy as his messenger with flattering words. But he abandoned those who for his sake alone gave up their children, husbands, and all other relations. He's simply ungrateful. Why should I make up with him now? According to Srila Visvanatha Karavarti, the verse illustrates the qualities of Sanjalapa as described by Srila Rupa Goswami in the following verse. The learned describes Sanjalpa as that speech which decries with deep irony and insulting gestures the beloved's ungratefulness and so on. Srila Visvanath Karavarti points out that the word adi and so on implies the perception in one's lovers of hard-heartedness, of an inimicable attitude of a complete lack of love. Like a hunter, he cruelly shot the king of the monkeys with arrows. Because he was conquered by a woman, he disfigured another woman who came to him with lusty desires. And even after consuming the gifts of Bali Maharaj, he bound him up with ropes as if he were a crow. So let us give up all friendship with this dark-complexioned boy, even if we can't give up talking about him. Wow, this is getting pretty dark. In Krishna, the Supreme Personality of God explains those. Srimati said to the bee, "You poor messenger, you are only a lesson servant. You do not know much about Krishna, how ungrateful and hard-hearted he has been, not only in this life, but in his previous lives also. We have heard this from our grandmother, Puranmasi, as she informed us that Krishna was born in a Katsarya family previous to this birth and was known as Ramakandra. In that birth, instead of killing Vali, an enemy of his friend, in the matter of Katsarya, he killed him just like a hunter. A hunter takes a secure hiding place and then kills an animal without facing it. So Lord Ramakandra, as a Katsarya, should have fought with Vali face to face, but instigated by his friend, he killed him from behind a tree. Thus, he deviated from the religious principles of a Katsarya. Also, he was so attracted by the beauty of Sita that he converted Surpanaka, the sister of Ravana, into an ugly woman by cutting off her nose and ears. Surpanaka proposed an intimate relationship with him, and as a Katsarya, he should have satisfied her. But he was so henpecked that he could not forget Sita Deva and converted Surpanaka, known as Ask Charity for Bali Maharaj. Bali was so magnanimous that he gave him whatever he had. Yet Krishna, as Vamanadev, ungratefully arrested him just like a crow and pushed him down to the Patala kingdom. We know all about Krishna and how ungrateful he is. But here's the difficulty. In spite of his being so cruel and hard-hearted, it is very difficult for us to give up talking about him. Srila Visvanath Karavarti points out that in this speech of Radharani's is called Avajalpa, as described by Rupa Goswami in the following verse. Sanely persons have concluded that when a lover, impelled by jealousy and fear, declares that Lord Hari is unworthy of her attachment because of his harshness, lustiness, and dishonesty, such speech is called avajalpa. To To hear about the pastimes of Krishna regularly, to hear about the pastimes that Krishna regularly performs is nectar to the ears. For those who relish just a single drop of that nectar, even once, their dedication to material duality is ruined. Many such persons have suddenly give up their wretched homes and families, and themselves becoming wretched, traveled here to Vrindavan to wander begging for their living.
Yeah. Okay.
Material
Hey,
duality is based on thinking. Okay.
you know what? I'm gonna. I think we'll stop now, and I would like to have you read that again, which you all read, because there's so many beautiful things to discuss, and I couldn't do it because I'm in the middle of my work here that I'm doing also. But anyway, it'll be great. You know, we'll if I can have you come on again, maybe even later today or something. Let's see if you feel like it, and you can start reading again, and we'll discuss these because these points that you were coming out, I'm thinking, boy, that'd be wonderful to share, because what the gopis teach is precious. It's really it's this conclusive. You know, all about relationship and everything, and yeah, they use beautiful analogies and stuff. So yeah, okay, so good. Thank you, Amy, for reading. And did you
Thank
like
you.
it? Did you like reading?
Oh, yeah, definitely. I loved it.
That's good. All right, good. All right, so we'll meet back here a little bit later today. I'm going to take the computer so we can do the live, so more people can come on. So wherever I go, actually, I think I'll just come back here later because I got great internet here now. It's fantastic. It doesn't interrupt much. Yeah. All right, you beautiful people. Thank you, everybody, for coming. Please forgive me for my offenses. Uh, I thought I'd feign that a little bit. Yeah, devotee says, "Oh, please forgive me my offenses." Like whip dogs. Yeah. All right, man. We'll see you later. Have a good day. Huh?